Friday on RTO. Friday always means it's live albums. Before we start, just thanks for everyone for last night. We had another ball. I've been given a challenge and I'm going to do some work with Richard McCook. So that's going to be exciting. And if you're watching this for the first time, if you like what we're doing, you know what you need to do is subscribe to the channel and join in the fun. So today's live offering is from my beloved Fish. I've not done them all because there's a certain album, live album, that there's about 3-4 different versions of it, very similar sets, so I haven't got them. But I have got 19, where you're not surprised. I'm a big Fish fan. So we better get started today. Coming in at number 19, we have the live album that was released in 1993. Recording date was the 23rd of June 1992 in Germany, and it's called Toiling in the Reeperbahn. The band he had at the time was of obviously Fish. You got Frank Usher and Robin Bolt on the guitars, Mickey Simmons on the keyboards, Kevin Wilkinson on the drums, and David Payton on the bass. This album has got Krakow, Voyeur, I Like to Watch, Punch and Judy are Just Good Friends, Pipeline, Out of My Life, Incubus, Raw Meat, Something in the Air, very rare live version of that, and even rarer, a live version of Lady Nina. Then we get The Company, Lucky, Big Wedge, Kaylee and Lavender and Heart of Lothian, and it ends up with Eternal Exile and Market Square Heroes. Now, it's a good set, but unfortunately it's a very bad recording. Again, it feels like it's been recorded on a little cassette recorder, but it's worth it just to have it because it's got a live version of Lady Nina, which is pretty good, and the live version of Something in the Air is pretty good. It's just a shame it's really bad production on this one, so I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 5.5. Okay, then coming at number 18, we go to an album released in 2002, Fellini Nights. It was recorded in Holland and Amsterdam on the 11th of May 2001. On here we have got Fish on the lead vocals, of course, John Wesley on guitars, John Young on keyboards, Steve Barnacle on the bass, John Martyr on the drums, and Susie Webb and Zoe Nichols doing the backing vocals. Opens up with 3D, So Feline. Not my favourite tracks. That sort of, some of these songs in this era are a little bit weak for me. Brother 52 is great. Tumble Down, a really good version of that. Long Cold Day, Tiki 4's alright. Our Smile. It's got my favourite track, live version of this is the Perception of Johnny Punter. The riffs on that are terrific. We've got Pilgrim's Address. Then we get this a medley, and it's basically Lucky, Krakow, Vigil in the Wilderness of Mirrors. Then we get a really good version of Clock Moves Sideways, really good. The Company and The Flower of Scotland. It's not a bad album. It's got a couple of great tracks off Rams, Gods from Zippos and the Empire of Sunsets album. His voice is starting to feel a little bit croaky. I mean, we know that Fish had health issues with his throat and a throat scare. I'm not going to say it's bad because what has happened, and he still went out and did the stuff. But on the whole, this is an enjoyable little album. I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 6.2. Okay, coming in at number 17, we go to an album released 2013. It's called Gone Fishing, and it's from the Leamington Spa Convention in 2002. The bass is split between Gavin Dickey and Steve Vantis. Gavin Griffiths is on the drums. Frank Usher's back on the the guitar. Foss Patterson's on the keyboards on this, and Fish is obviously doing the singing. Opens up with a script for a Jester's Tear, Long Cold Day, pretty good version of that. Innocent Party, pretty good. He Knows is on here. Square Go, a great version of Feast of Consequences. The Other Side of Me, really good. Dark Star, great. It's really good to hear some of these later tracks. Pilgrim's Address, it's okay. Then he does Jigsaw. Now, he's admitted that he wrote it in such a high key, and I don't know why he tried to sing it, because he struggled, bless him. It doesn't sound right even in a different key. It didn't sound right. Freaks, it's alright. Lucky, Internal Exile, Market Square Heroes, and then we got Grendel. It's the only other version of Grendel I've got. I've got about 3 live versions of Grendel in total. He doesn't do a bad. I mean, he didn't do a bad job of it. It's a very ambitious thing to do that song, because he can't hit them notes, but the fans seem to love it, and it ends up with the company. As I said, it's a great little set. The Marillion stuff doesn't sound right, but his later stuff with his solo album sounds brilliant good. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6.5. Okay, then coming in at number 16, another album released in 2003. Fool's Company, recorded in the Netherlands in 2002. On here we've got Fish, of course, John Martin on the drums, Irvin Duguid on the keyboards, Frank Usher and Robin Bolt are on the guitars, Zoe Nicholson and Susie Webb doing the back in vocals. Opens up with script of the Jester's Tear. Then he plays the whole of Misplaced Childhood. Then we get the Torch Song and Slanty Marth, Forgotten Sons, Fugazi, Vigil, Just Good Friends, 3D, Rites of Passage, State of Mind, Shadowplay and Raw Meat. It's a mixed bag live album. Again, his voice was really struggling. I mean, it's not the best version of the Misplaced Childhood recordings I've got. I've got better ones that Fish did solo. It's hard. This is hard because I don't like slagging off Fish, but I think he really struggled on this tour with doing this Marillion old songs. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6.6. Okay, coming in at number 15, then we go to 2015. Farewell to Childhood. This was the last time he played Misplaced Childhood. These are recorded at various gigs in 2015. We've got Fish on the vocals, Robin Bolt on guitars, John Beck on keyboards, Steve Antis on the bass, and Gavin Griffiths on the drums. First CD is just some of his solo stuff. We've got a great version of Pipeline, really good version of Feast of Consequences, Long Cold Days good, Family Business pretty good, and a fantastic version of Perception of Johnny Punter. Then the second CD is Misplaced Childhood. Again, his voice is starting. They've had to literally redo this because he obviously Fish can't sing as high as he used to. It's not a bad version. It's not outstanding. It's listenable, and it's just nice to see that he went and done this for one more time. And then we get Market Square Heroes and the Company. It's not a bad album. I do enjoy listening to it. The Childhood sort of is a little bit. That is the weaker thing on it, unfortunately. It's a shame. But I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. Okay, then coming in at number 14 is a live box set released in 2016. The Movable Face. First 2 CDs are recorded in Germany. I think it's all done in Germany. The works it's recorded at Karlsruhe Substage, whatever that is, and the other one's Wolfsburg Posthall. First one was done in 2013, the first 2 CDs, and the second in 2014. So we got Steve Vantis on the bass, Gavin Griffiths on the drums, Robin Bolt on guitars, keyboards on CD 1 is Foss Patterson, and keyboards on 3 and 4 are John Beck, and we've got vocals by Fish, of course. So the first 2 CDs are from Karlsruhe Substage in 2013. We have Perfume River, a really good version, great version of Feast of Consequences, a very good version of Script of the Jester's Tear, Dark Stars is good on here, All Loved Up, another good version. What Colour Is God? Probably the best live version I've got of that. Blind to the Beautiful is pretty good. Mr. 1470, really good. He Knows You Know, it's okay. Crucifix Corner's pretty good. The Gathering's good. Thistle Alley's really good. Then we get a little medley. We get Assassin, Credo, Tongues. Goes back into Assassin. Then we get a drum solo, a little bit of Fugazi, bit of White Feather, a little bit of View from a Hill. A really good version of Freaks. Then Lucky and the Company. The second part of the second show is Perfume River, The Feast of Consequences, Machamal, which is pretty good. The Arc of Curve is really good on here. Highwood, Crucifix Corner again, The Gathering, Thistle Alley, a good version of The Leaving, Slante Marth, it's not too bad. Vigil's pretty cool. Big Wedge, Heart of Lothian, Incubus, and The Company. A fine album. I do like this one. Some lovely stuff from the Consequences of Feast albums. Absolutely brilliant. Love to hear this live. It is much better than the studio, I think. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 7.4. Okay, then coming in at number 13 we have Crowlco, 1996 it came out, and it was recorded on the electric set on the Yin and Yang World Tour when he brought out that compilation. So his band for this one was obviously Fish himself, Ewan Vernal, Dave Stewart on the drums, Ewan's on the bass, Frank Usher and Robin Bolt on the guitars, and Frost Patterson on the keyboards. Opens up with a stunning version of Black Canal, which is one of the B-sides, really good. A very good version of Jumpsuit City. Big Wedge, Emperor's Song, that's pretty good. Lady Let It Lie, Vigil of Wilderness Mirrors, that's not too bad. Shadow Play, love that track, really good version. Fugazi's okay, Slante Marth's okay. Credo, Kaylee, I just don't think it sounds right without Steve Rothery. Pipeline, a really good version of Incommunicado. Internal Exile's always a good fun. Lucky, Lavender, and it ends up with a brilliant Boston Tea Party. Really good version of that. It's worth having just for the version of the Boston Tea Party on here. It's a great Fish live album, and I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.5. Okay then, coming in at number 12 we go to 1999 and Shamsie live in Poznań, recorded in Poland in 1999. On here we have got Fish, John Wesley guitars, Tony Terrell on the keyboards, Dave Stewart on the drums, Steve Vantis on the bass, Elizabeth Antwi on the backing vocals. Opens up with a stonking version of Faith Healer, the old Alex Harvey number. Lucky, Just Good Friends, a great version of Brother 52. Goldfish and Clowns, one of my favourite tracks by Fish. Hotel Hobbies, Warm and Wet Circles, That Time of the Night, it's not too bad. Tumble Down's pretty good. Then he has a bit of Fish interaction, telling you a story. CD2 though opens up with a great version of Plague of Ghosts from Zippos. Oh, it's brilliant. It's brilliant live. Cliche. Then we get a very short version of Johnny Punter, a brilliant version of Sunsets on Empire, and we end up with The Company. Again, great album. It's worth having for the Plague of Ghosts live. I listen to this quite a lot. Very enjoyable album, and it's so hard to choose because there's some really good live albums that Fish has put out, and I'm going to give this one a RTO ranking of 7.8. Okay then, coming in at number 11, this is an album that was released in 2007. It's called Communion, recorded on the 26th of August 2006 at St Mary's Church in Haddington on a fan club convention. On here we got Fish, of course, Frank Usher on guitar, Andy Trill on guitar, Steve Vantis on the bass, Tony Terrell on keyboards, Gavin Griffiths on drums, Dave Haskell on percussion. Then we got backing vocals are done by Heather Finley, Angela Gordon, Anna Marie Helder, and a certain young lady called Tara Dick, who we know is his daughter. These are all sort of semi-acoustic versions of these songs. We got The Field, really, these are all really good semi-acoustic tracks. Jumpsuit City, Favourite Stranger's really nice on here. Shot the Craw is pretty good. State of Mind's nice. Nice version of Tilted Cross and Fortunes of War. Just Good Friends is good. Incomplete is lovely on this. Incomplete, Change of Heart, very good. Lady Let It Lie, A Gentleman's Excuse Me, really nice version. These are all lovely versions. Rites of Passage, The Lost Plot, Slant Mouth, an interesting version of Chelsea Monday, must admit. Scattering Codes is pretty cool. Tara and Raw Meat. I like this album. It's basically the song stripped down to the bare necessities, and I enjoy listening to this one, and I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. Coming in number 10 then, we go to 1994 and an album called Sushi, and this was recorded in Utrecht in 1993. Opens up with Fearless, Pink Floyd number. This is sort of supporting that songs from the Mirror tour. It's not a bad version. Big Wedge is always good. A really good version of Boston Tea Party. Crado's pretty good. View from Start Again, Iain, Family Business, always a good version. Then we get this little sort of medley. It opens up with From a View for the Hill, which is a brilliant track anyway. Then it goes into She Knows You Know. And then we get, and this is the only version I've got of this live, She Chameleon. It sounds a lot better live than it does on the album Fugazi, actually, and he does a really good version of this. Kaylee, a stunning version of White Russian. This is when Fish's voice was pretty good still. The Company, CD2, you get Just Good Friends, which is always good, and a great version of T-Rex's Jeepster. Brilliant version. Hold Your Head Up, gets the crowd going. Lucky's on here. Eternal Exile, a great version of Cliche. The Last Straw, Poet's Moon, and a great version of 5 Years. It's not a bad album. The covers he does are pretty good. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 8.1. Okay, coming in at number 9, we have 1996, and it's called Fish Head Curry. And it was recorded in Luzern in 1995. Don't know who's playing on this. Like Sushi, I haven't got a clue who's the band on these. But this opens up with Jumpsuit City, a pretty good version. Big Wedge is pretty cool. The Emperor's Song, one of the best live versions I've got of this. Lady Let It Lie, you get talking about the paper of the Observer. I'm saying it in Germany now. Vigil in a Wilderness of Mirrors. It's on here. Shadow Play medley. We get a bit of Shadow Play, bit of Fugazi, Slante Marth, and then we get a great version of Crado. One of the best versions I've got. Kaylee, Pipeline, Incommunicado, Internal Exile, Lucky, and Lavender. Another solid performance. Can't really fault this one. I'm giving this one an RTO ranking of 8.3. Okay, coming in at number 8, 1998. The album is called Tales from the Big Bus. This is recorded in Cologne in Germany in 1997. Again, I don't know who's playing on it. It opens up with a stonking version of The Perceptions of Johnny Punter, one of my favourite tracks. What Colour Is God? It's a good version on this. Family Business, and then Mr. 1470 is pretty good. Then we get a little bit of Fish doing an introduction and having a chat, which is always pretty fun. A live version of Jungle Ride, which sounds a lot better than the studio version. Then you got another little medley here. We've got on this one we got Assassin, Credo, Tongues, Fugazi, and White Feather. Then we get Cliche, Brother 52, which is a great version on this. Lucky, Internal Exile, and The Company. It's got some very, very interesting versions of songs. Some of the tracks that I'm not keen on in studio are actually a lot better live. And so I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.5. Okay, coming in at number 7. This is from 2020. It's got a Fish in the Lemon Tree, Aberdeen. This was the tour that he cancelled, and he got one show out, and he put it on YouTube. But if you wanted to download it, you had to make a donation for the crowdfunding funds that went to his crew and that. So I got my refund on my ticket, and I just put it straight into this so I could download it. I thought I'd do my bit for the band. On here we've got Fish, of course. We've got Steve Vantis, Robin Bolt on guitar, John Mitchell on guitar, Craig Blundell drums, Dave Stewart drums, David Jackson saxophone, Liam Holmes keyboards, Foster Patterson keyboards, Doris Brendel on the backing, got Mickey Owers on brass, and the Scottish Chamber Orchestra. This is basically the Vigil album, bits and bobs. It's not really in running order. It's got stuff, of course, off Belch merch as well. So the running... Oops, I've just put it right to the top of the script. Didn't want to do that, did I? Bear with me 20 seconds. Where are we? Here we go. We'll try again. So this opens up with a Family Business. Really good version. Vigil in the Wilderness of Mirrors is stonking on here. Even they've changed it a little bit, it sounds really, really good. Rose of Damascus is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Great song anyway, and it's really strong live. He Knows You Know. Then we get Welch Merch itself. That is a very good version. The Party's Over. A stunning version of Cliche. View from the Hill. A Gentleman's Excuse Me. Script isn't too bad on here, in The Company. This is really good. I like this, and I do like listening to this. His voice is a lot stronger now. It's not as good as it was in the 80s, but it's still a very strong voice, and it's an excellent album. And I'll give this an RTO ranking of 8.8. Okay, coming in at number 6 then. We're to 2005 now. And an album called Scattering Crows, live at the Robin 2 Bilston, recorded in 2004. On here we've got Steve Vantis on the bass. Drums is Windsor McGilvray, Frank Usher and Bruce Watson on guitars. Tony Terrell on the keyboards, and Fish doing the honours on the vocals, of course. Opens up with The Rookie, which is a great version of this song. I really like the Scattering Crows album, and that is a great version. Moving Targets, really good. Jungle Ride again, a really good version. The Perception of Johnny Punter again. The guitar riffs on that is terrific. Numbers is a pretty good. Zoo sounds a lot better live, I think, than Zoo Class. Sorry, it's very, very good live. Cliche, not a bad version. Innocent Party's really good on here. Visual of Wilderness of Mirrors. Then you get a medley, and I haven't got it written down. Just lots of fish and Marillion stuff. So Feline, probably the best version of that song I've got. I'm not particularly a fan of it on the studio, but it really sounds good on this live album. Then we get, this is all part of the medley, you Wally. Then we get Lucky, Internal Exile, Market Square Heroes. Solid album, lovely to hear some of these songs from Scattering Crows. Even better live. It's a very short album, but the sound is so good on this. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.9. Okay, coming in at number 5. Album released in 1999. It's one of these BBC things, the complete sessions. So we got 2 recordings. The first one done at the London Town and Country Club in 1989, and the second side, the second CD, is Nottingham Royal Concert Hall from 91. The lineup on here is Fish on the vocals, Mickey Simmons keyboards, Frank Usher on guitar, Mark Bruzetsky on drums, Robin Bolt on guitar, Steve Bruzetsky on the bass, and Bruce Watson on guitar. Opens up on CD1 with a great version of Faith Healer, really heavy. Voyeur I Like to Watch is stunning on this. Punch and Judy sounds great. The Company, Script for a Jester's Tear, Family Business and Warm Wet Circles, Sainte Marthe, always good songs. Vigil is pretty good. Then we get The Big Wedge and Fugazi. The second concert opens up with Kaylee, Lavender and Heart of Lothian. Really good versions of them songs. Vigil's pretty good on this again. Credo's good. Tongues is stunning. A really good version of Incubus. The Company, Big Wedge, Internal Exile and Market Square Heroes. And then we get Windset Thumb and Heart of Lothian to end this thing. Great album. At the beginning of the solo career, stonking versions of the songs on this, and I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 4, we've got the latest live album, and if you remember, I opened it live on the channel, released in 2022, The Last Straw, live at Glasgow Academy, recorded on the 13th of December 2018. It was a few days after I saw the band at Rock City in Nottingham. The band on this was John Beck on the keyboards, Steve Vantis on bass, Gavin Griffiths on the drums, Robin Bolt guitars, Doris Brendel on backing vocals and whistles. This is where he played the whole of Clutching at Straws and mixed in with some of the new tracks off the Voices of Parley EP that he'd released. Opens up with Sainte Marthe, a really good version. Man on with a Stick is brilliant on here. Really like that. Warm Wet Circles and Hotel Hobbies, That Time of the Night, really good versions. A stunning version of Little Man What Now, one of the good tracks off his last album. Torch Song and White Russian, really good. Just for the Record, pretty cool. Sea Song. Going Under, I'd never heard this live and he did a really good version of it. Sugar Mice, not a bad version. A mind-blowing version of Waverley Steps. The Last Straw, and then we had a brilliant version of Tucson. It's one of my favourite tracks from Marillion, and he did a stunning version of that. Incommunicado, great way to end the show. Okay, this album, I've got fond memories of this, seeing this tour. They adapted the songs from Clutching at Straws really well, so we can sing them now. It didn't ruin the show at all. It was lovely to hear some songs like Tucson and Going Under and the Torch Song, which he doesn't do very often. Never saw the Marillion do them. So this is a very special album for me, and I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 9.3. Okay, coming at number 3, we have an album released in 1993, and it's called Pigpen's Birthday. Now, Pigpen is one of the road crew. It was recorded at Hammersmith Odeon on the first leg of the his first solo tour. 2nd of April 1990. We've got bass and backing vocals Steve Brzezinski, drums Mark Brzezinski, Frank Usher and Robin Bolt on the guitars, and keyboards was Mickey Simmons. Opens up with Voyeur, love that track. State of Mind and Punch and Judy, Family Business, a really good version of Assassin on here. The Company, mind-blowing version. Script, little different, they've arranged it a little bit different, it's really good. Gentleman's Excuse Me is a stunning track. Band intros, and they sing Happy Birthday to Pigpen, and we'll go straight into Sugar Mice. Then we got probably the best version of Vigil live, it's just stunning. Kaylee Lavender and Heart of Lothian, not too bad. Cliche, stunning version of that. Big Wedge and Internal Exile. First real live album that Fish put out. I love it. I brought it when it came out. I had sort of got a very dodgy version of it beforehand, but I love every track on here. It's a great little album, and I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9.4. At the time, there was other albums that were out with the same. No, there weren't. That was on the next one. I'm 6 into 7s today. Right, ignore what I've said. So that's 9.4 for Pigpen's birthday. Coming in at number 2 then, we have an album again released in 1993, For Whom the Bell Tolls, from the Edinburgh Playhouse on New Year's Eve 1991. On here we've got Fish, Frank Usher, Robin Bolt, Mickey Simmons, Kevin Wilkinson on the drums, and Mr. David Payton on the bass. Opens up with a really good version of Vigil, a really stunning version of Krakow. Tongues is good on here. Family Business, and Incubus on here is really funny because he tells one of his classic stories and introduces the song. Really, really good. The Company, always a bit of a good laugh. Great version of Shadow Play. Absolutely belting version. Then we get Dear Friend, which is a really good song off the Internal Exile album. Lucky, Big Wedge, Forgotten Sons, Internal Exile, and Market Square Heroes. Good album. Love this. Great production on this. So I'm going to give it a 9.5. This is the when I said at the beginning there were other albums very similar to this, but all released in 1993. One of them was called Derek Dick and His Amazing Electric Bear, recorded in the 11th of November 91, and then Uncle Fish and the Creepers, recorded in Germany on the 7th of December 91. So I haven't got them because they're very similar. Okay, my number 1 then, and this is from 2006. It's Return to Childhood. All the tracks were recorded in Holland on the 13th of the 11th 05, except track 13 on CD2, which was done in Cologne on the 18th. The band on this one is Frank Usher on guitar, Andy Trill, Tony Terrell keyboards, Steve Vantis bass, John Tonks on the drums, and Deborah French on the backing vocals. Opens up with a brilliant version of Big Wedge. Absolutely belting version. Again, this has got the best version of Moving Targets on it, the best version of Brother 52, a brilliant version and the best of Goldfish and Clowns. Rain Dodge Dancing is pretty cool on here. Wake Up Cool, Make It Happen's really good on here. Innocent Party, it's the best version I've got of that live. Long Cold Day, again, it's the best version. Then Krakow, which is an amazing version. And then we get Misplaced Childhood, which of course is Pseudo Silk Kimono, Kaylee Lavender, The Bittersweet, Heart of Lothian, Waterhole Express Bongo, Lords of the Backstage, Blind Curve, Charles Woodhead, White Feather. Then we get Incommunicado, Market Square Heroes, and probably the best version of Fugazi outside of Marillion. This album is superb. It's one of them albums, live albums, that everything came together. This is the best version of Misplaced Childhood I've got, outside of Marillion, of course. All the other songs are brilliant. Everyone is performing was on great form when they recorded this. It is the best. It is the best live album that Fish put out. The production's brilliant. Fish sounds absolutely amazing on this. It's just a great album, and it really give Misplaced Childhood some justice here. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9.6. Okay, it was quite a long one today, but mix them up a bit. Still love Fish, always will, and I know a lot of Marillion fans are still fans of Fish as well. Okay, we got one more show for the week. That's a new album review. We'll be looking at the new album from Tears for Fears, The Tipping Point. Hope you can join me for that. If you don't like Tears for Fears, have a great weekend. I'll be back on Monday, where we'll be doing Wings and looking at Shakespeare's Sisters, Hormonally Yours. So have a great weekend, everyone. I'll see you on Monday. And don't forget, if this is your first view, please subscribe. Bye for now.